Hey, we love that umbrella guy. All right. Thank you.
I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I'm having a little problem under the name ThATuMBRELLAgUY. I sent him my phone number at least 20 times in the chat and told him to call me. He ignored me. I'm a man. I filed the report. If you guys could take a look at it and give me a call back, I would love to hear what you guys can do to help us. We really need to kind of stop this guy at least until Monday. I told him to call me. I'm a man.
You know what? I talk to your mayor.
Army of one. Getting masked up and rolling over snitches. Sitting them like the cruise line, baby, to throw out the E-stitches. A wrecking ball to all their scams, the grips they sold us free. The lawyers, the lies, the 50s is paid, blocking out the only me. How many claims are left in ruins? Oh, let us count the ways. A memorial, 20K on fencing, a fortune turned into 18K. What's the sound of two brain cells fighting for last place? If you guess the ecosystem, that's right. You got lies about money, a fortune squandered, thousands flagrantly misused. And unlike sickness, there's sadly no cure for stupid. This isn't just a mic drop, it's yet another nuke, asking what they're gonna do when their money turns to poof. The greatest truth out there, they know the truth in what I wrote. But to quote you ecosystem pals, they've already tossed you off the boat. I hope you can float, lady, because they've abandoned you. Abandoned. That's right.
Hello, what's up, folks? How's it going today? Welcome to a Friday edition of Man. There is a lot of crazy that goes on no matter what happens. I swear, you go away, you got doctor's appointments on the day, you show up trying to find out what's going on, and you find out things like people been contacting the FB freaking I. Can you imagine that? The FB freaking I. Man. Oh, how am I doing? I'm doing okay. It was not a all that travel and stuff is not that great for me. You know, I still have not gotten to the point where I can travel long distances like that. It makes me feel like I'm terrible. But doctor stuff, I'll find out everything, you know. But I mean, I'm here. I'm good. We're going to have fun on the day. That's what matters, you know. But I appreciate it. Yeah. I got to take the little ones for ice cream and a few other things today. So that was good anyway. So, you know, they had to pile in. So that's actually pretty good. They got to do some stuff they wanted to do. So I got to get them some books and everything. And at the end of the month, the oldest, her birthday is coming up, so she'll be 12 this year. So I'm talking about the end of next month, not the end of this. The last few days, to make that clear. I'm talking about the end of October, but she's already, on the. This is what I'm getting for my birthday. So we're already there. Today, though, while finding out about some of this, I found out that apparently contacting YouTube isn't the only thing that's been going on. Apparently, there have been attempts to reach out to the FBI, the Department of Justice, legal for every freaking state you can think of. It's just, it's very strange. They've been going after apparently Jeremy Hales, and they have been going after Randy Shockett. Now, you might be asking, what kind of insanity is this, Tuck? Well, I'd say it's welcome to, generic day of the week, where we find out that people try to contact every service out there, whether it's again YouTube, as we've seen in the past. I mean, even TikTok. That's the stress. Like, are we just randomly throwing at anything, that can pop up? And yeah, apparently that's the case. So I'm going to pull up a couple of actually, I need to censor a picture of that. I just noticed. I just thought about this. So I better actually censor a picture that's in here. I'm going to censor a face off of it. Even though it is sent to half of the freaking free world here. Now, in the beginning of this, okay, so who does this deal with, we might be asking here? Well, it deals with one, paint chips. Now, if it were only paint chips, I would be like, that's something that might be worth mentioning, maybe, but it wouldn't be something that I would lead an entire day with. You'd be like, I expect some kind of weird palather out of paint chips. To be honest, I kind of expect something strange out of paint chips. Bruce, though, is part of it too. Like that. I'm not saying I'm surprised by that behavior, but wow, there's certain things that come up. Like, again, when you find out people are taking aim to the FBI, that goes well beyond just the contacts that have been attempted at the bar and other places. And to find out, first of all, I thought it was pretty funny to find out that a guy that's had problems with the feds and the Department of Justice before on his own is trying to contact them. There's just, I don't know, there's something kind of funny in that to me too. Don't you think that's rather weird? Yeah. Hey, I'm the guy you put in prison for 4 years, by the way. Oh my God. The FBI needs to investigate. It's definitely something. So let's pull up one of the communications, and I'm going to show you on the second part of this. I'm actually going to show you everybody that these things are addressed to. It will blow your freaking mind. But this is one of the lovely letters. Now, I have redacted a face there just because I figure that's fair. Even though, like I said, after I show you who all this sent to, I don't feel like I really need to, since it's been sent to everybody in the world and their mother. Let me see. Rain, thanks for the 5. When is your daughter's birthday next month? Because mine is the 29th. She is the 24th. So she is right there at the end. She was supposed to be an October 31st baby, but she arrived a week early. So I thought, well, Close, close. But she was, she was supposed to initially be with us on the third. It's really funny too, because I was working at a place where I was, how do I put this so it's not weird or bad? I took the fastest job I could while waiting on like a therapy position, I guess is the best way to say this. So I ended up with a case management job. I don't want to say anything that's rude to case management. I mean, again, case managers do a lot of work, but I took one while I needed a job, So I was working crazy time, to fulfill case management position. No, I was working, God, way too many cases. And I was about, I'm going to say about an hour and a half away from home when I got my early call. It was like, come now. I was like, oh my God. But I did luckily get there plenty of time to spare. That was crazy though. I was like, man, I'm an hour and a half away. Come now is not the easiest thing to do. But no, she her birthday it's soon enough. Like I said, she knows it's coming. So she's closing out on 10 years too. So this right here, when you check this out, this is the initial letter and everything from one Paint Chips, noting a formalized complaint to the FBI. That's right. Now, you might be asking, what would this complaint be about? Well, apparently, trying to complain to the FBI about a quote-unquote fraudulently filed affidavit of service plus misconduct, elder abuse, and fraud on the court to the FBI. The FBI is going to be like, what the stupid hell? But still, it's it's funny because what they're telling you here, this is actually talking about service. We've been talking about service for the last few days, and we've talked about this before too. You had specific people that did not want to be served. Apparently here there's a senior. So let's see how this comes together. Also, apparently they decided to use Charlie Kirk with Hale. So they've been trying to cancel him with stating that somehow in some way that he's a paid agitator. This is no joke. They're telling the FBI this is crazy shit, that he is this type of paid agitator that the president talked about when dealing with Kirk. This is the craziest shit. I'm talking about rubber room crazy stuff, but they're sending it to the FBI. So, okay. And like I said, BBB will get on this letter too. Oh my God. It's so insulting. But at the same time, you see the attempt. The attempt is real. The attempt to cancel. They have tried every means possible to weaponize any approach possible. And now they are absolutely, while some people are making threats, about what happened there, that tragedy. Others are trying to utilize that as a cancellation mode for Jeremy Hales. It's so bizarre. What does that have to do with anything, by the way? It doesn't have anything to do with it at all. But they just hope that there's yet another venue, a way to get him investigated. If you say the right combination of words, maybe that'll magically unlock some hostility toward Jeremy Hales. You see how dangerous this game they play. I mean, it's a crazy game. It's a hateful game. But so, dear sirs or madam, let's look at it all. Please find attached a courtesy copy of formal complaint and a request for investigation submitted to the FBI Jacksonville field office by my father, Paint Chip Sr. Now, the complaint concerns a knowingly and fraudulently filed affidavit of service filed et al. In, the case there, as well as resulting misconduct, elder abuse, and fraud on the court. Oh my gosh. Okay. Jeremy Hales represents the type of quote-unquote paid agitator President T warned about when speaking at Charlie Kirk's funeral. Isn't that, no, I mean, geez, man. Those who exploit political tension. Huh. I don't remember politics coming up in lawsuits. Do you remember politics coming up in that? In fact, I seem to remember certain people trying to weaponize labels that cancel other folks. You know, labels like when they sit down for a depot, they try to label someone an ist, that type. They tried the ist thing before that. You know, I'm talking about racist. They also tried they've tried the sexist, and they've tried phobic, you know, so they've tried the, what I like to call the istophobe combo, you know, where people call you an ist as many times of ist as they can. They try to call you phobes. They try to cancel you while screaming about politics and social issues. It is a method that people have been trying for a long time, and it used to work very well. It doesn't work as well as it used to, but it used to work very well. Now they're trying another method, which again is a pretty nasty method too. It's gross, man. Rob asked, wait, does that mean he has a bleeding heart liberal like me? Joke, of course. He doesn't talk politics, but it's not hard to figure out his leanings. Well, leanings are difficult. It's like this. People assume my leanings. I talk about free speech. Actually, I talk about my disdain for government, but also mental health, you know. I think that vulnerable populations deserve all the help they should. I think politics is it's not so simple. I think sometimes, you know, we know people's beliefs sometimes, but I think a lot of times people believe in people. They don't believe in parties, you know. Like me, I like to believe in people, you know. I see a lot of problems with a lot of places and a lot of people out there, you know. But I like to think that all of us, no matter what we believe in those kind of things, social or political, well, we can come together and you can live however the freaking heck you want as long as you're an adult. You do whatever you want, baby. Whatever makes you happy. That's the way I roll, you know. But I mean, people assume, you know, they assume because I stream with certain folks that, you know, you would know my stances, and it's like, well, it's not that simple, you know. So I wouldn't assume any of your stances either. I know you're joking too, man. You know, I don't mean anything on that, but with assumption, you know, smart business people will never assume anything like their audience, out of their audience, because, you know, everybody in the audience should be invited anyway, but a smart business person knows. Invite everybody to the party. Let's see. So, those who exploit political tension and social media chaos for money. Wait, was that what was talked about? Social media chaos for money? I don't seem to remember that being a big talking point. Hale's it's turned now, again, this is being sent to the FBI. All right, so just noting that. But Hale's is, and a lot of other places, by the way. I had to look up some of the places that were sent because, like I said, I'll show you a whole roll of them. Hale's has turned lawsuits, unlike theatrics and YouTube content, into a revenue stream targeting seniors like Paint Chip Senior. Ray Bonebreak. It is funny. They use Ray like a rallying cry. Ray, aren't you? Ray, by the way, put out a very interesting video. I caught a little bit of it today. Ray's going to get himself an RV and travel around and I guess meet up with the totally not the co-conspirators that he has, right? While they all deny Lynette Preston her own RV. It's very, very interesting stuff. So, and others to provoke outrage and generate clicks. Have you ever looked at these people and what they write, by the way? It's like, are you talking about outrage farming, really? You folks, of all people, you're actually talking about outrage farming? I swear. This isn't advocacy or truth seeking. It's monetized harassment. So pay me $300 a freaking article. Oh my God. I feel like I'm in a case of I know you are, but what am I? You know what I mean? Have you ever been there before? I know you are, but what am I? I'm trying something, by the way. I'm hitting some super chats as they come along. You know, Rider Chick. If I can't get them all like this, but I'm trying it as they come up. Rider Chick, thanks for the vibe there. Happy Friday. I was released today. Great. That is great news. Love to you. Home recouping. Love and hugs to you, the girls, and my chat family. Check your DMs, Tug. I will definitely check those out too. I'll check out my I'll check my DMs out, letters. Again, today there's been a little bit more crazy that we're going to talk about today too. There's actually there's always other crazy we can discuss. There is one thing I do want to show you. Actually, there is one other thing I want to show before I forget it. Crap. I'll actually forget this if I don't show it to you now. Give me 1 second. I don't want to forget this. This is very important. I mean, this is so important. We're going to interrupt our regularly scheduled what the heck I'm talking about just to show you this, and then we'll keep reading. Okay. So, the memorial bench that we've been talking about? You remember the one that the one that antis they took up what $4,000 to actually have pop up. I believe I found it. That's right. Would you like to see? Check this out. Man, 1 second here. Let's make sure. No, hold on to yourself because I got this here. Look. Man, look at that. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, that's right. I've got the bench now. I'm holding it for ransom for $4,000. I'm only accepting donations now. That's right. Yes, I think that is very important there. Apparently when you buy your $4,000 bench from Temu, apparently objects in the rearview mirror appear smaller than they are. Right. This one, no, it's actually the opposite. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Oh my God. Yep. Yes, my hands are that big. It's actually a regular sausage. I had some monster. No, this was actually, I know they're excited. They're like, oh my God, you have found our bench. No. It's not. I'm going to install this in my plastic turtle sanctuary. It will be safe there. It will be secure. So if anybody wants to check that out, we will be making sure that it is on neutral land. It'll be away from that mean old hills and right by the turtles that break dance and the chickens that have somehow gone balding, allegedly. That's right. That's right. But I wanted to make sure that you all saw that because I didn't want anybody worrying about that memorial. That umbrella guy's on the case. I told you we would solve it for you. There you go. Look at that. We might even get it inscribed for you, you know? Like in memory of $4,000. Oh my goodness, that is so amazing. I know that was worth breaking into this though, right? I know you all are like, holy crap, Tug did solve the case. That's amazing. Yes, I did. I had help with it, of course. Thank you to the person that, of course, rescued it. It had been diverted over somewhere else, and they managed to save it. Thank you. I, again, will be accepting checks from the ecosystem to the tune of, well, I would give, since it's their bench, I'd give it to them for free, but we have shipping and handling, and I think it costs $5,000 to ship and handle. Very serious topic. Yeah, okay, let's get back to this. $5,000 shipping and handling. Very serious. Okay, so as they said, targeting the seniors. It's not truth or advocacy or whatever. It's monetized harassment by dragging uninvolved elderly citizens into fraudulent court filings and then amplifying fallout online. Harms inflicts Hale's inflicts real harms. Harms, and I was going to say harms inflicts real Hales. I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't sound right. Harms inflicts real. I'm like, I can do that with, it's amazing. I can do that without dyslexia. Yes, you may be like, Tug, do you have dyslexia? If so, there's nothing wrong with dyslexia, by the way. But no, I just read things backwards sometimes. I knew a guy, I loved him. He would say compound words backwards. It was, I forget what they call that. I forget what they call that condition. But I've talked about him before. But one of my favorite things he would say, any compound word, he would say it backwards. Like mud puddles, he would say pud muddles. I don't know, just that alone would crack me up. As I said, I never understood what a pud muddle was until I saw a certain driveway in Otter Creek, and then I understood what a pud muddle was because of all those little swamps that existed in it. But he inflicts Hale's real harm on vulnerable people, causing stress, fear, reputational damage while profiting from their pain. His conduct exemplifies how digital agitators, you ever hear a combination of words and you're like, that may not be the stupidest thing I've heard ever, but it's definitely one of the stupidest I've heard today. Ding, ding, ding. There it is. To exploit both the courts and senior citizens. So remember, all Ray is a senior citizen. Remember when you diminish somebody, you take away their individuality and you just turn them into one thing. So there's nothing wrong with being any age group or anything else. But if that's your only qualifier, then haven't you been diminished? Isn't it kind of insulting? And that's what they've turned the rallying cry for specific people into. It's actually any of them. If they want to get out of stuff, they're all this one qualifier, whatever the one qualifier is. They always do this, and it's amazing to me. It is amazing to me. Hey, fallen hero, by the way, love you, brother. Love you always. Always. Oh, check this drop. I always wanted to ask. The intro segment, Call Me, was that a real? Yes, it is. So that happened during the Depp Heard trial, by the way. Yeah, that was a fake. Well, it was an illegitimate 911 call. In fact, that was here where I live. They also called the district attorney and any other place. That was that one, and the I Talked to Your Mayor. That's another crazy that reached out, actually came here. A Section 8 Marine sniper that came here. Then some weirdos had a live stream just to laugh at crazy people coming here. But yeah, that was a guy. He's one of the craziest people I've ever seen online, ever. He's one of the most entertaining live streams I've ever had in my life. But he called 6 different states about myself. He said there was a conspiracy. It reminds me of a lot of stuff that comes up in this. He said there's a conspiracy between myself, Depp, and this other guy named Paul Barisi. He said we were all conspiring to do crazy stuff. He ended up trying to sue This guy, oh, he made FBI reports too. So it sounds a lot like what we deal with. But yeah, that was when a call to the police here. I didn't believe it existed. I called the authorities at first and they told me there was no call. So they posted it online. So yeah, that's now I've chopped it up. I chopped up the thing to make fun of the guy who called it. That the whole "I'm a man" thing, you know, I was making fun of him because he's like, "I'm a man," you know. He was calling, he was saying, "This guy, there's 2 women here, and he's so terrible, he's bothering them, and he doesn't bother me though because I'm a man." That's where that came from. I love it. Oh my God, it was the funniest thing I've ever heard, dude. It's the funniest thing. Oh man. How much to do a banner? Well, I've pulled up like we have some odds and end banners. Now we have not perfected the science yet of getting the individualized banner. We got beautiful banners though. Maria Raya and Mark. You know, if you know Maria Raya and Mark, they made some beautiful things. I've shown off some of their work. They also created some amazing banners, and we've got some cool ones ready for stuff. Now, if you want an individualized banner, here's the problem. Okay, let me be real about this. Here's the real problem. I was trying to reflect everything they do, you know, as a joke. So if I'm like, it costs $20 and somebody were to give me that, well, they never supplied any real banners. So the joke would be not to supply, but I don't want to do that to anyone when they may think that that could actually happen. You know, the whole joke to everything is to do what they've done, you know. So I don't want to make that joke though, and anybody think I'm being serious. So, but I do like joking about the banners, you know. Let me see. And like I said, I'm shouting out some of these early just so we can know what they are while we're here too. Hey, DTG, thanks for the 10 there. That month, it's crazy. It's awesome, man. I love it rolling up on that year. That's awesome. There's a clear difference between calling someone a clown, so they're mocked, and calling a Yahtzee, so they're murked. Yes, indeed. That is indeed true. That is indeed true. And you can sue. You know, there's indeed, we have some of these people, they have, you know, I think they're the epitome of wrongful suits and more. But they want to complain about wrongful suits. And yet again, we're looking at the 2 state court suits that are just an absolute mess. And we have people filing bankruptcy, hoping that they can find a sideways out of these court cases. So it's all bizarre, isn't it? Rob, also thanks for the 2. Proof. Flea bought it for herself. The flea dust bitch. That's what it is. Her and the cricket are going to go hang out. All right, 2 more, and then we'll go. All right, 2 more. Real right, thanks for the 2. You get arrested for digitally agitating in public. Gross. It does sound like something bad you would do. Not on my memorial bench. Don't you digitally agitate there. And Sister Sal dropped the 5 gift. Thank you, Sister Sal. That is awesome of you. That's such a blessing to people. I love it. I do love it. All right, let's roll. Let's roll there. Let's see. Give me 1 second. God, it's such a crazy letter. My mind is all over the place today. You have to excuse me. It's been a crazy day. So, Attorney Randall Shockett. You notice, you can tell all the people that are connected because they love doing the Randall Shockett thing, don't they? That is interesting, isn't it? Conduct in this matter is deeply troubling. Despite clear notice that service of process at this place was invalid, he nevertheless directed, colluded in, and filed a knowingly false affidavit to federal court. By presenting a fraudulent affidavit of service, Mr. Shockett violated his duty of candor to the tribunal and engaged in dishonesty. You know what's amazing is a disbarred lawyer wrote this. A disbarred lawyer that went to prison for fraud and extortion wrote this. I mean, think about that. Isn't that amazing? Don't you just sit back and really think about where this is coming from? Disbarred lawyer who went to prison. Ooh, man, that is something else. Deceitful conduct prohibited under the Florida Bar's rule of professional conduct. His actions not only constitute fraud on the court, but also inflict direct harm on uninvolved elderly homeowners, raising seriousness of misconduct well beyond ordinary procedural error. To ensure accountability and transparency, the Florida Bar's Grievance Committee for the 8th Judicial Circuit is also copied, as well as everybody and their mother. You would be shocked. Well, my favorite thing that Paint Chips has ever done is he sent out an army of letters. And again, Paint Chips could clarify this himself. But what was really funny about it is he was complaining about the case. And he sent out something about, knowing that people were trying to serve him, essentially. And one of the parties he tagged on it, that he put their email in, was Judge Belitho's office. Imagine trying not to get served. And while you're trying not to get served, you you write the very judge that's going to talk about this stuff and say, yeah, I know about this case. Again, pretty much ensuring that if there's any discussion over whether or not you were properly served, well, they definitely know you know about it. And they can make the argument very much that you were trying to dodge. But the press is also copied here as the eye of vigilance, the Jeffersonian sense. He probably means, those other Jeffersons, because they're moving on up, moving on up. Oh, wait. Oh, my God. Look what he includes. Couple of YouTube videos and fucking Michael Volpe Substack. I'm sure they're going to take the time to read this. They're going to be like, oh my God. Holy moly, man. Oh. I am transmitting these materials on his behalf as a matter of courtesy. Oh my goodness. This reminds me, have you ever seen the movie Prince of Darkness? Anytime I see something about transmitting, that's what I think about we are transmitting this from the year. That's what I think about anytime I see it. It all sounds crazy. And to ensure that all interested authorities are promptly informed, my father is copied on this email and is available to answer any questions directly. And if you wish to discuss, well, you can contact him at these redacted places, because I did redact them, of course. Now, if you look at that, you might be like, again, what does that matter? Well, what matters is the guy who says that he has no connection to these people, the one that argued in a court of law that he indeed didn't have connection there. Yeah, BBB, he actually decides he's going to sound off on this too. Now, I'm going to show you something. This is going to blow your freaking mind, okay? Make sure that you are sitting down. Yeah, exactly. What would the FBI even do? Exactly. What would they do? Meds thing to question there. Meds. Not time yet, but I am prepped for it. And thank you. Like I said, I appreciate you all thinking about my health, and making sure we can do this forever. For sure. Aussie, what's up? Aussie, well, I'm at 14 months, baby. Thank you. I'm wondering if you saw the email I sent Laura Owen's favorite place. I'll make sure. Let me make sure. My mind is not, where I've been out all day, my mind is not clear enough to recall all kinds of stuff. You know how you ever have days like that where you're like, Oh, I can't even remember waking up this morning. So I'll have to check. And love to you, Aussie Wildbat. And one more. Jada, thanks for the 10 there. The press might be interested in that revenge corn. Indeed. You know what else might be of interest? When again, you remember BBB and his arguments about any connection to the quote unquote journalists. You remember? Well, here's look who's got involved in here too. Look at this. Now look at all the places that they decide to tag in. Look at these crazy places. And I highlight some of this not to really obscure emails, because almost all of these are they're public emails, like they are business emails. Or if you check this out, look at this stuff. Here's the recruitment with the FBI. Look at all the FBI addresses that are attached to it. Like this is what I did. To make this make more sense to people. Again, these are redaction is not really that necessary here, because most of them, they're putting in FBI ones, but still I did that. It's just redacted enough. So you can see, with the FBI, you can see the U.S. Department of Justice. Are you kidding me? You have some fake people that are attached to this as well. There's some actual fake people in that. You have, of course, 2 L's. You have, my God, look at this though. Look at the mess in this. There's the Florida bar. I noticed TikTok legal is part of that too, and so on. There's just it's an insane attachment of just absolute lunacy. And of course, BBB has to get on in it too. Again, they don't do things together or anything, but they do get together and mail different authorities and ask places to cancel folks. That's been one of the new ways of handling things. It is wild, isn't it? Yes, Med's 46 now, so you would have been right, 48, indeed. Reminder for legally lips also. Take your meds. That's so funny. It's good to see you, man. I see you yesterday. I laugh at you there. Cynic. It's good to see you, brother. Aussie too. Thanks for the 15. Hey, all you Aussies in chat. I'm a G-Long girl. I don't know what that means. So of course I'm excited about this. AFL grand final. I don't even know what that means. It's like you're speaking in code to me. All you Aussies, love to you and love to you too. That sounds like code to me though. I don't know what that means. Obviously it's some sporting thing, I'm going to say, but I don't know any of that. I don't know. It makes me want to know. Debbie, thank you for that membership. Debbie, what's up? Thank you. Welcome. Thank you for the membership. Welcome to Tugs, Debbie. I appreciate you. Like I said, I'm in the mood to hit all of those. Now, let's see. So we have you know what? While we're all here on the subject of FBI complaint, paid internet agitator Jeremy Hales. I can't believe this is real. Federal fraud filing and elder abuse. I, BBB, would like to get involved, and I also would like to bring to your attention Mr. Jenkins' past as detailed in the attached court decision of the Arkansas Supreme Court. They really want to cancel Chuck. So you see it there. Look. They're again trying for investigations. Whereas again, what's amazing about this is you have an ongoing case where The allegations are that you try to cancel people's businesses, you try to ruin them. And what do we see repeatedly? The attempted cancellation of an entire, of an entire law career. That's what this is. Whereas the Arkansas Board of Bar Examiners called Mr. Shonka committing perjury and rejected him in the mid-90s. He succeeded in procuring a Florida license in 2005. I do not see how he could have been admitted to the Florida Board of Bar Examiners, and we're aware of the information. Well, the funny thing is, that tells you know what that sentence right there tells you? He says, I do not see how. That means that he doesn't know. He doesn't know what was actually presented to the Florida bar. That is wild to me, because when you're going out, some of the statements that have been made weren't that there was alleged fraud on the court, that things weren't, possibly submitted, but that things weren't, that there was some kind of fraud on the court. Other statements, they were made that say that they're not, like I said, they're not coded in to say, that there was a alleged, but like his other message that he typed out, he said, quote, listen to this. This was his other message that he posted when they were talking about the Dan Owens stuff. This was Bruce too. It's like, this filing is the responsibility of Attorney Randall Shockett, who is filing cases he knows have no merit in order to generate YouTube content. It's going to go like that with this one too. Shockett lied to get a Florida bar license. He failed to disclose. So you see, like, that statement right there isn't a he allegedly. This is a matter-of-fact statement. He's trying to sue people over matter-of-fact statements. So that's that isn't that weird? Oh, Australian most of all. Thank you. That makes sense there. What is it? That's your hometown. All right. That makes it. Thank you. Now I understand. I had no idea what that meant. Australian rules football look wild, by the way. They're anything out of Australia is very interesting to watch. Everything from sports to animals. I mean, everything is just, it seems intent on breaking somebody, or the animals, even like everything from spiders to sharks to everything. And that's amazing. I love it. I think Australia sounds like a wonderful place. In fact, if I were younger, I would think about a move there. It sounds like a wonderful place to me. I mean, yeah, kangaroos, man. Even kangaroos are crazy. It sounds amazing. I like this question too from McDeb. It's like, how freaking high are they when they mailed this out? Indeed. Like how crazy is it? I mean, really, like when you see it. So he Mr. Shockett, he's terrible. Oh my God. And his Florida bar admission certainly calls for an investigation. Now, again, we're talking about something 20 years after the fact, by the way. So if you want to see something that really looks like personal vendetta, that really rings of it, doesn't it? It's strange too for me. When I see something, I mean, I want you to think about this circumstance real quick, okay? So you have a letter that is attached to, again, BBB has attached his letter to another person. That other person is a disbarred lawyer. We were talking about somebody who got in trouble for fraud and extortion. So don't you find it really interesting to write with a convicted fraud and extortionist saying, actually, that guy over there, he's the bad guy. Oh my God. Just the circumstance of this is next level buffoonery to me. Oh my God. Sometimes I see stuff and I'm like, this can't be real, can it? But it is. It is 100% real. Whew, man. Some days I'm like, somebody really is punking me. You know. Shonkin is currently engaged in representing a client, YouTube pseudo-celebrity. What is a pseudo-celebrity? Are you saying that he's not a celebrity, that he's not a public figure? Is that what you mean? Because if you're not a celebrity, are you a public figure? He's now a pseudo-celebrity. What is that supposed to be? I didn't know what they're going with that. Pseudo celebrity, you know, sorta, kinda, half, a half. So what does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah. Oh yeah, I thought this. Yeah, misbehaving. Thanks for the tip. Did you notice your voice in the "Let me clear my throat" video? You giggle and say "fascinating." I did. That was a funny video, by the way. I have to hand it to the people who played it and the people who made it. It was funny all around. It was actually pretty entertaining. I liked it. I thought it was really entertaining. So, Mr. Shonkin, he's engaged with a pseudo-celebrity, Jeremy Hales, whose channel, What the Hales, has 750,000 subscribers. Here's the butthurt, I think. You know, these folks, you got to remember something. To get over 300,000 subscribers, there are so many YouTube channels out there that you have a better chance of actually getting drafted into the NBA. That's right. You have a better chance of being drafted into professional basketball than you do getting 300,000 subscribers on channels online. Isn't that wild to think? So there are a lot of people out there, they're very butthurt about this man's success. Now, for me, if I see somebody that's successful, what I do is I look at what I could, if I need something out of that, like if I'm not having success, and I'll emulate. You know, you look at how they handle customers, or, you know, just the way they market themselves. There's something in that resonates with people. And instead of doing that, though, there are other people that just complain. You can see two things right here. You see money, and you see subscribers. That's the real butter. What I've found from a lot of these folks is that really is the thing. They believe that somebody else, they have somehow shortcut fame because they didn't get it. So if they can't have fame, well, let's give them infamy. It's wild, isn't it, to see that? But that's the thing. That's why I always find it funny. That's why when we talk about breadsticks and stuff, for real, when we say it makes them mad because they can't emulate the success. You know? I mean, the way that they manage to do that is they manage to find somebody, rally behind them, and then throw them under the bus, I suppose. I mean, look at the things with Lynette Preston. Look at what's going on with that craziness. But whose money he devotes his life to getting as many of them to part with as he possibly can. He wrote this to the authorities, man. You know? Yes, indeed, cynic in chief. This is actually a very good point, by the way. This is a very good point. I'm like I said, I'm gonna catch everybody. I love you folks too. I appreciate it too. I get to do this every day. I get to do this and laugh at stupid people. I love it. But yes, isn't Deuce suing Larry over saying he's collaborated with a disbarred felon? Why is he doing that? I mean, yeah. I mean, this it kind of showcases something crazy, doesn't it? You know, like, maybe that's true. It does. Oh, thank you, Ozzy Alley. So the word mixing condition is called spoonerism. There we go. But a professor of medicine where I worked, and so it made some interesting work. Yes, I also had this. I had a guy with. Nowadays, you see people claim they have Tourette's a lot online, and many people fake it. Actually, now I'm not saying who or what because there's so many different presentations. But this guy I worked with, this was before any internet acclaim or anything. The guy was definitely not faking a condition. He'd have certain speech and physical mannerisms. He'd get stuck on them, and he would get stuck on specific words, and he would blurt them out and just and the most fascinating combos ever. And he got stuck. I don't mean to be offensive when I say this, okay? So I'm not trying to offend you in this, but we were working together. I got a job at a place that sold collectibles, comics, and more. I worked there for a few months, just at most, while doing my first 2 years of college return. And this guy, he got really upset. And you get stuck on, like I said, words, and he got stuck on the word combo Jesus, fetus, and penis because you can see how they flow together, and he would get excited. Customer, like if a rude customer would come up and say something, he would blurt those 3 words out like just over and over, because he gets stuck on them. And oh man, he was so funny about it though. He had no shame in it whatsoever. He found the whole the reactions these people had, because he was medically protected. They couldn't fire him for it. I know, Laura, the reactions some people would have, like if they would they'd be complaining about him because he was very lazy too. He was just a lazy worker. We weren't getting paid enough to really care at this place. But they would complain. They'd be like, will you help out with this or that? And you're like, no. And, if they get him upset about it, he'd start blurting out those 3 words in succession. God, I love that guy. He was one of my favorite people I've ever worked with. Love it. Becky, thanks for the too. Didn't the Florida bar shut BBB down with this? Yeah, actually, the Florida bar, they've all approached with this, to be honest, and they've had to be shut down. Now we have we have proof that was posted by paint chips where they've been shut down. Now this is brand new. This one is yet another attempt. So this is a new attempt on this stuff. But yeah, they've deflected it before. But I think they go with the old adage: if first you don't succeed, well, harass the shit out of the Florida bar. Maybe they'll listen to us for the 1700th time. I think that's the approach. At SF, thanks for the vibe. Is there a way Larry can find out if they are trying to go after his bar license? There is so much crazy. I can't remember if it is known if they had or not. Well, there's an interesting group of posts that were put up about Larry. They've all been archived, by the way. So if they decide to remove them after the fact, remember they're in litigation too. If posts were to suddenly disappear, that would be strange, wouldn't it? But yes, there are a few calling into question licensure and more. You should go search them on we'll talk about them one day. We'll actually talk about them one day. That's what we'll do. Okay. Niece, Janice, my bad. Thanks for the 17 months. Thank you. 17 there. Doug, I want to thank you for always making me laugh. We had the worst summer ever. But things are good. I'm glad they're good now. That's great. Moving to Cleveland. Yay. I've never lived in Ohio. So I hope Ohio is great. I don't know anything about Ohio at all, but what I hear here is things are great. They're good now. Or summer, it makes you really appreciate the now when they catch up with you. So I'm glad to hear that. And love to you. I'm glad you can laugh. One more. Let's do one more. Natalie dropped that super sticker. I saw it. I can still see it. I love them. Thank you. Natalie there. Appreciate that. That is awesome. Thank you for the 20 and the super sticker. Okay, let's continue here. So, a major part of the business model for Hales since approximately early 2024 has been to file frivolous lawsuits in order. Oh my God, I smell a polymop. Oh, there it is down there. I see it. Look at that. There's polymop. I knew it was coming. I knew it. I knew it was happening. I could smell it. Is and to file frivolous lawsuits to make YouTube content from filing and proceedings, soliciting his viewers to for donations to his running tab of legal expenses that are funneled to Shockit. God. Oh my God. Yes, that is a real thing that they are sending out. He had a link for direct payments to Shockit's firm. You see what's crazy about this? So these are the same people that have ran PayPal pools to pay for his and some of those PayPal pools have been linked to paying for court costs directly to them or paying out other lawyers through them. And they have the audacity to complain about court costs. That's really a strange approach, isn't it? Because again, if you're going to complain about lawsuits, how many lawsuits stemmed from? I realize that Stark is the face of lawsuits, but Bruce, let's be honest, how many stemmed from you, buddy? How many actually came from you? That's going to be a real fun question to see. He's like, they had that link to direct payments for Shockit. Some donations were cash in the mail. Oh my God, cash in the mail. Holy crap. People mailed in the monies. Oh, but hurt again. You see how much is here. He was able to raise money. Me, I've been stuck with a pool of funding for places like Ohio that won't move because the PR team that was supposed to be working with this person blew them up. Swear to God. Oh my Lord. You know, that's got to be kind of, I would be so pissed off if I were part of that ecosystem plan. Wouldn't you be, honestly? So you got the PR team that's supposed to be out there raising money for stuff. And, you know, they have one real big job. That big job is to, I don't know, not turn on Preston and the ye old knife, the digital knife in the ye old back, right? What do? Well, they don't do the jobs that they should be doing. They're like, can't stand her. She's done. Isn't that wild? By the way, she had a nice post today. We will cover as well. And some of the donations, though, where Cindy opened it. I can provide a lot of information regarding his polymops. They're going to be like, oh my God, that's the dumbest name I've ever heard. Polymop. I'm telling you, it sounds like a very curious about its identity mop. It's a polymop. I'm telling you, every time I see it, I think that's really dumb. That's really dumb. It does. It sounds like a very curious, very, very curious mom. It sounds like something that you might hear about. You remember the old commercials that you would get, like when a network would go off air, like back in the day. You know, Fox is going off air, so we're going to get infomercials. We're like, welcome to the Polymob, the one with two heads, you know, because it's really curious about hardwood floors and linoleum. What is up? His polymop providing abundant litigation-related content for... This is crazy. You think they want to read this? You think they're going to read that and be like, good job. They're going to read this and be like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever read. It goes back in, let's throw it in the Bruce pile. Oh my God. Providing abundant litigation related content for Hale's YouTube storylines. as he contrives for his subscribers' entertainment and his own monetary profit. Hale's business model is filing frivolous litigation to fulfill YouTube stories, and Shockett is the only lawyer filing them for him in numerous courts, state and federal. Wait a minute, state court? Or are you kidding me, Bruce? State court are answers to what lawsuits now? That's really curious, isn't it? Well, they're out there filing in the state. Well, are you talking about Dan Owens? You talking about low T-Rex? Is that what we're discussing? It was funny when they talked about that, by the way, because that their PR couldn't even get the, I'm gonna say, the basics correct about how that runs. But all of this is for YouTube content. You know what? I am very happy with my YouTube content. This story is the greatest thing I've ever seen. It is. I get to cover all the crazy, all the crazy players. I mean, I never know what's going to happen with certain things. I figure, like I said, I figured the Trespass 5 and the thumbnail case, I knew how that would go. I knew that wasn't very good. So I knew that something bad would happen. But it crashed and burned even beyond my wildest dreams. I figured I understood what would happen with the Fed 1 case after I really looked at it, you know, with the defamation claims and stuff. I figured I understood. Now with tortious interference, I had no idea. You know, those are difficult ones. Fed 2, like I said, difficult case. I think you have you can build a pretty good case against specific people, and we'll see how that goes, and so on. But it's funny, they talk about how Randall Shockett, he's the only lawyer. Well, Randy actually, you can tell from his filings one thing about him. He knows this case. This case is all spawned out of itself, you know, and they say that it's all polymob. Maybe when you look at how this stuff comes together, how they tag in, again, every agency and its mother. Look at some of these, like freeze on these and look at them later on. Like, look up some of these extensions, because some of them I had to actually look up and find out where they came from, what they were. You know, some of them I didn't recognize, but they're all over Florida. They're talking about all types of different places. It's wild. I've never seen anything like it. Now, I'm going to show you one other thing today. Like, again, tomorrow I really want to do the Larry stuff, but today when this came up, I was like, man, I've got to show you that. I have to. I have to. And I figured I would show you the LMNOP post here too. Now, what's interesting about the LMNOP post is she is saying that CPS visited again. Now, I hate to tell you, Lynette, but the people who have been talking about sending them to your property are the very people you think were backing you. So you're going to have a real hard time convincing anyone that this somehow in some way belongs to Jeremy Hales. You know, again, I've watched what these folks are talking about on their streams. I've heard what they had to say about you, and they'll try to walk things back here and there, but they've made some, again, we'll say statements about nursing homes and yourself, about doing wellness checks on you, and about calls to services. As I said, I want to put the caveat here: nobody contact any agency or individual. Do not do that. Just straight up, period. That is my public service announcement, by the way. I feel like I need to throw that in there and watch this stupid fly. That's what we do, you know? Check this out. Let's see. A Lady Tammy notes, thanks for the 10. In case you haven't figured it out, BBB is trying to make Randy so angry, he drops what the hell's and sues BBB. It's the only chance BBB has to escape to that. You know, ultimately, BBB, I don't think he's ever going to get to Randy. Randy, you can tell from approach. Again, I'm not quoting the guy. I don't know this for a fact, but the way that I look at it, We haven't seen him ever respond, have we? We've never seen him respond. He's just shrugged everything off. He's stone faced. He's the mystery meal, you know. He's out there. He keeps the same expression. That is no expression. We don't know anything about him except through filings, and that's good. That is a good professional face. And as far as what he's doing, they don't like what he's doing, but he is serving his client's interest. You know, I thought some of the stuff that BBB did was pretty awful with Preston and them, but ultimately, courts and more, they were like, okay, well, you were serving their interest, I suppose, until they fired you, right? That's what you said. They let you go. That's what the court docs say. So, Mr. Coop, what's up? Thanks for the 5 there. Just a little help with the orange jumpsuit order. We have a lot good when we head off to jail. Yes, apparently we're all being told that we are going to jail yet again. I'm not even sure what that's for. I did hear somehow in some way that we're somehow being blamed for the flagging of the 2L channel, which I don't understand. I'm like, I don't flag channels. I also don't call for mass flagging, because if I did, you would know it. If I went and did that, I would knock one of them out after the other. It would not be a difficult process, but I think their content is beautiful to talk about. So I don't believe in shutting them down. I actually believe people, when they talk about me, they can't damage me. So as far as myself is concerned, I don't really give a crap what they say. But with Hales, again, as I've said before, they talk about wanting to shut him down. They talk about damaging his business, and they keep saying that he's a person that can take down businesses and more. Well, they're still standing. So, but they were like, yeah, they're going to contact YouTube. They're going to sue YouTube. You know, that's the dumbest thing ever, by the way. That doesn't work. Thank you, Mr. Cube, by the way. We're going to prison. Stupidus, a fictional legal term often used by desperate lawyers. Symptoms include excessive whining, pointless filings, and chronic loss in court. Oh no. Oh no. It's like a courtroom. It's courtroom ED. No, they make a pill for that. No. Hey McDeb, thanks for 5. I can picture these emails in the FBI office pinned up with a cork board next to the water cooler featuring the most laughable emails of them. Oh God, I really hope they have something like that. That would make my day, wouldn't it? You? That would really be funny. We'll do 3 more, and then we're going to move into her comment. Okay, Puzzler. Thanks for the 5 there. Legal strategy. Oh, yeah, you are. Or I'm rubber, you're glue. Yes, it bounces off of me, but I'll get your money from you. Yeah, I know you are, but what am I times infinity? Yep, learned at the Acme preschool law. Indeed, it does sound like a preschool, doesn't it? It really does. Jack's Bob, thanks for the 5. I think they're taking lawsuits as a challenge to give Jeremy enough evidence against him before it actually goes. Yeah, it's like, what else can we provide? What else indeed? Okay. And Emmy, thanks for the 10 there. I wonder if it ever crossed the Mythic's mind that people in the federal government could be fans of What the Hales. That could be something too. You know, I'm sure, you know what I figured they're not fans of? Paint you. You know, people that they've helped convict, they're probably not fans of them. Would you say? What'd you say there? I would think so. Well, this is going to be a wild read, by the way, here, DTG. So, child welfare agencies offer assistance with safety and environmental updates when needed. This is the proper place. So why are they not doing some freaking thing to make it better? Yeah, you would think maybe they could help with situations somehow. You know, there are charitable places that will help. Everything from, by the way, Lynette, everything from churches and more. This is going to deal with, we got a visit and the kid, by the way, kid not potty trained fully. That's okay. That's what this is going to say too. And we need to get a RV. It's going to go back to the RV thing. So check this out. And there's going to be a wonderful thread in this too. Oh man, read this. So number 35 visit from CBS. John calls me to say, oh, they're here again. My poor child says, Mommy, they're going to take me away. My heart breaks seeing her fear to the caller. You're a freaking idiot. You know, like I said, you know, these people, Lynette, you know what channels have been talking about you and talking about again, would they serve, by the way, whose interest would it serve at this time to wrap you up where you don't contact law enforcement anymore? Whose interest? I wonder. Just ask yourself that. I'm not answering that question. I'm just saying, whose interest would that serve? But she's like, are you that stupid? Or is it just fun for you? Tick tock, tick tock. The time is almost here for us to get our voices back, and we're going to sing like birds. Oh, really? Really? Of course, you haven't sung like a bird as far as 2L. Again, you talk about that, but 6 figures, man. 6 figures. Are you going to sing like birds about that? I'm going to say, caller, you're wasting CBS time and resources so they can't help a child really in need. We do not in buckets. Okay. I absolutely have a travel potty for at night and a portable potty. You know, the big blue things for during the day until we buy a camper /RV /motorhome. Then we will hook up to the $11,000 plus septic system we've had for as long as we've lived here. Purchased brand new. Now, I'm going to say that when is a camper going to happen though? We don't live in filth. Harley is schooling and registered, but I need her birth certificate, which I have now. Oh, come on, dude. You needed her birth certificate. All you've got to do, look, I've had to deal with this. All right, here's a shortcut to it. You can go down to whatever health clinic that you have. You know, the one sponsored by the state. It costs a whopping $15. That's right. You can get another copy. See, I needed a new copy because I could not remember for the life of me where I had put the little one's birth certificate, and I needed it, like I said, for that. So I go down to the health department. I pay $15. It took longer than I thought it would. It took a whopping, like, I think 25 minutes. I just sat there. I read a book. You know, actually, I went through an audio book and read something else. That's all you had to do there. So just a note. You ever need a birth certificate? That's the way. See, in the state of Tennessee, here's a fun fact too. The state of Tennessee, if you call them, they channel you through this thing where they're supposed to express a birth certificate to you. See, I didn't realize you could just go over to the health department and get one at first. But I went through the state of Tennessee's thing. I did that a year and a half ago. I'm still waiting for my express mail. By the way, you can't get a hold of a human being there. One day, I thought it would be interesting. I left my phone cycling through their on hold music and everything, 2 hours plus. And it kicked me over to nothing. Finally, it finally hung out on me after 2 hours plus of waiting. It is the absolute biggest scam I've ever seen. But you can spend $15. You can't get your money back from the state for that. It is the most fraudulent bullshit I've ever seen. But that's how Tennessee's set up. But again, go to the health department. It's very easy. But she homeschools due to her life-threatening illness. Not one thing you said was true. And if we can find out who you are, I will be prosecuting you for falsely making CPS calls. By the way, good luck with that. You are the abusers, not me. And not John, you are. God will make you pay. Look at the wonderful. If anyone causes the little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a huge millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea. Is that, by the way, I hope you're quoting God and not saying, if anyone causes one of these, it would be better than, I hope you're not saying your vengeance will be that way. I mean, I did not hit by the way, you saw the faces come up. That was not me hitting one. P.S. By the way, this is crazy, by the way. She is potty trained, basically. What? Basically? What does that mean, Lynette? What does basically mean? I mean, if you have a little indoor toilet for her in your current living conditions as a 15 by 20, I imagine there's not a lot of privacy. Maybe she doesn't want to do that. Going outside, even to a portable, probably is not fun for a child. So, yeah, if she's not potty trained, though, she'll actually blame other people for this too. This is wild to me. This is just wild. But due to your abuse and her issues now caused by your abuse of us and her medical issues, she doesn't want to be potty trained. No, she's a child, lady. Kids would rather utilize a diaper unless you teach them a certain way. You know the best way to do that? Motivate them. You motivate them by telling them that's what big kids, because all little kids want to be big kids. All of them. They want to be able to step up, in the future. You tell like my youngest, I would tell her things like, she talks about she wants a phone. She's little. I mean, you're a little kid. She wants a phone. Of course, she's not going to get a phone now. But I tell her when she gets older, when she becomes bigger, when she establishes that she can handle things, and it will be a while down the road, but she has to grow and be bigger and get even smarter. She is already so stunning and smart. You compliment, but you motivate. And part of being bigger is potty training. She picks out her own clothes. She's happily learning. She's learning to read through stuff. If I could stop confusing words, it would probably help. But you motivate them. Ultimately, this child, I mean, this is strange to say, she wants to stay my baby forever, I believe. What? Like my 6-year-old wants to be, she's at that age right there. They want to be attached to you a lot. If anything's done right there, my 6-year-old will either attach to me throughout the day, or she'll attach, to other family members, like the ones that she's closest to. It makes her feel comfortable. She also explores the world too, though. She goes out, if there's kids around, she gets time to play, she'll do that. But, if I'm sitting around, she likes to come down, sit with me, be close to dad. And that's healthy. That doesn't mean she wants to be a baby forever. But that doesn't mean she doesn't mind being my child forever. She's at that age where they're just like a sponge, that they soak up positive. If you give them positive affirmation, they will also exude that. They soak up whatever you give them. So that's something. But you and the stalker, the stalker. So are you trying to blame Hale for that? Again, you know right now that the people who have been aiming toward you, you know at this time who exactly they are. You've had 100%. Man, you've seen screenshots, I'm sure. To say that, to say that otherwise, phew, man, my God, all this stress and anxiety and anger has destroyed her life. Anger? What is your, what, you're not saying that your child is exhibiting anger, are they? I mean, those are learned traits. My child, no matter what, my littlest one is just every now and then she has her moments where, like, her and her sister will argue and she'll yell at her and stuff, but she's not mad. She's not angry at anybody, and she just has a singular moment where being loud, and getting what's hers. That's how they do. That's how a little one does. But they don't hate, or they're not angry. They may have a temporary moment where if you deny them something, they're like, ah, and they throw a little fit, but they stop. But they're showcasing anger with what has been going on. That is a reflection of the person that, again, is in charge of them. Now, I would believe that living in a 15 by 20, that they would pick up on a lot of stuff that they probably shouldn't. They overhear a lot of stuff they should. Maybe should look into that. But we will be proven innocent, and then you will all pay. Then you all will pay for hurting us and my child. God will make sure of us. That is a threat. That is a threat. First of all, you have not been proven innocent, Lynette Preston. You've actually been found guilty as far as a protective order is concerned already. You have violated protective order a couple of times already. So as far as quote unquote found innocent, are you hoping down the road you'll get a win, and then that win will somehow be some kind of justification, because that's not where you're at. I do hope you are there. I do hope you understand that. You really, these people are crazy, man. People act crazy. Like, again, blaming other people because a child's not potty trained. That's very strange. And again, like I said, I'm making commentary on your post that you put up here. I'm not calling for people to do anything. In fact, as I said, I do not ask them to do any contact. I state the opposite. But people have the right to comment on your posts, and your posts make it clear there are certain things that are disturbing. People find these things disturbing that you're saying. And you're talking about raining down vengeance and stuff, and the child being in fear and anxiety, not wanting to potty. I mean, these are that's some strange stuff. And you bring up John too. There's a thing with John, by the way, that I thought was really interesting. So let me send this over to myself, because it's a meal toast, and I mentioned it the other day. But meal toast was essentially telling John that he should sue someone, and you've got to see this, because the hypocrisy to it is so amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So I want to describe the background to this one. Like, there's one other thing I really want to show you today. When I saw it, I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" Is that you ever see something that you think, "Is that real?" And yep, it really was. So let me pull this up. Give me 1 second here. Kind of mail it to myself, like I said. Oh, wow, there it is. I'm mailing it from my phone. When I say I mail stuff, I'm taking it off my phone and putting it on here. You know, that way I can show it. I forget I have some of this stuff until it's time to talk about. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about that screenshot. God, I forget more screenshots though. Are you kidding me? Is it not going to pull up right? Mother. Oh, I hate this thing. I freaking hate the new setup for stream. If I have to, I will post it on Facebook and I will look at it there. Fine. Give me a second. I'm going to post this, you know, give me 1 minute and we will look at it as a post. Damn it. If I have to do that, there are ways you can actually just post to yourself. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that, but StreamYards for some reason does not want to lock in on everything anymore. So bizarre. God, nothing wants to work right. Just give it a minute. There's a post though. So let me give some background while this is working. It's kinks out because apparently nothing wants to work right. I'm telling you, I'm to that point where I guess I'm going to have to retower and all that. I hate doing that. God, it's so much work moving everything over. I guess I'm going to have to do that and maybe find another connection service, which I hate because they'll cost more. All right, check this out, though. I'm going to show you here. And I'll give you some background to it, too. So the other day, you had a person on the Huggy Bear channel. They were talking about milquetoast. All right. They did a video. It was about an hour long. And they referred to milquetoast in a way he did not like. They allegedly, I'm going to say, because again, you can read it, you can listen to it and see how they put it together. But they allegedly said something that would be close to a PDF enabler, you know, that kind of thing. Talking about milquetoast, and milquetoast was not happy. He was in fact telling John Cook that he should sue. He should sue. Listen to this. So you have John Cook start out talking about saying, all these people call themselves Christians. Well, someday they will have to answer to God. This is a guy, by the way, talking about pew-pewing somebody and feeding them to alligators, you know? Okay. All right. But, yeah. And then you have milquetoast. Now, there's a point to it. I'm going to point this out because the hypocrisy of this just blows my mind. He says, all I know is you have a case against these two for defamation per se. Her for saying what she did and him for broadcasting it. Huh. So you remember when these folks were telling you things about Hales? They were stating things about Hale's, pretty awful things. And they were also talking about signs. And they said that if somebody called them, that this whole group agreed to this idea, that if somebody called them the things that were on that sign, even if the signs, if they were real, right, that wouldn't be such a big deal. They would just ignore it. Well, you see how that's a lie. Because if somebody online even remotely says something that reflects that, they talk about lawsuits. So you see how the hypocrisy is here. It's all fun and games when it's aimed at someone else. But when somebody points it at them, then suddenly it becomes actionable. Suddenly it's a bridge too far. Huh. That's strange, isn't it? It's almost like these people are full of, excuse my word, but they're full of shit because they have been saying forever that Hales, he should have just ate this. He should have just dealt with it. And yet they won't deal with it. You know, they won't. I mean, he's like, oh, you know what? I mean, he's talking about suing too. He says, well, some people really need to understand the difference between normal opinion, commentary, and defamation per se. Really? That's weird. You know, don't you and your pals engage in things that are well beyond commentary? Don't you? And well beyond opinion? And don't you do that? Haven't you all said that's a no problem there? I mean, at best, at minimum, cease and desist letters. Well, what happens if they're, apologies and corrections? Well, you guys didn't go that way. There were cease and desist letters sent. You know, again, you see the hypocrisy here. I love this post because it points out that when the chips are down and they feel that they have been accused of something just like that they start talking about lawsuits. I'm not a litigious person, but lawsuit time. Wow. Wow. That's wild, isn't it? That is so wild. Like I said, they kind of just walk back all that stuff they talked about with Hale. So they don't even realize it. They don't even realize like how much they end up agreeing that his method was right, that he should have sued people. How also, because again, cease and desist didn't work. They didn't stop people from acting crazy. Protective orders don't work. Huh. I love this post. Anyway, let's send some super chats. There's a few left, and then we're gonna tune out tonight, and then we'll be back tomorrow to talk about some of that DUI guy fun. Yeah, I mean, there's so much. I was going to today. I wanted to go through and look at the Bruce filing, and then I want to look at certain filings of his. I actually want to be very thorough in going over everything with Larry's filings. But the first thing I want to do is I want to address the jail part. So I think reading, I love that filing anyway, where he's like, they're going to send me to jail. I love reading that anyway. So I think it'll be a fun flashback to it. Because all of that stuff, again, it actually matters yet again. So Jack's mom, thanks for the two. Hoping it makes sense now. You do. You actually would have made sense last night too. You did, but for me, I was just so out of it. So you actually made sense yesterday when you were like, "This is what that meant." I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." It was my bad. So you made sense yesterday too. That was totally on me. Some days I just don't compute anything. Wendy noted. Thanks for the two. Way to go, BB. That's how to get on an FBI watch. Yeah, they look at some crazy. They're like, that's pretty crazy. You know, that reads like lunacy, like out and out lunacy. Ugh. Travis thinks about. I used to install septic in the early aughts. I love saying aughts. So instead of 2000, I said the early aughts. Anytime I get to work that in, oh, it's so good. With my uncle, he had a ranch septic business, and they were way more than $12K back then. Much less nowadays. I'm not doing. I figure they're probably a crazy price. I remember having to have one dug up in a yard, and it cost half of that, just to dig it up and clear the nasty thing. It was like, oh, God, and that was way back when. And so, yeah, Travis, by the way, I hope you're doing good, brother. I hope you are doing good, Yes, Angela. Med time too. I did. I don't know if you heard me. I should have said when I do that. By the way, I need to start saying, hey, I've done that. So I did that. I did. That's why I need to drink more water. Ooh, today when I've been out, they're like, drink as much water as you can. I'm like, I'm going to burst. I'm going to literally burst open from all this freaking water. But when I'm traveling all day, I can't. I'm like, how is that supposed to work again? So maybe try to take their advice on doing everything else. Take the meds, take the drink all that water. Like, how does that work? Like, how can a human drink this much water? Rita Ryan thinks of the vibe there. I worked with a 4-year-old boy, Down syndrome. He had a bowel operation and wore pull-ups at school. I potty trained him. It didn't take long at all. No, if you know, you bring up a very good point, Raya. You bring up a very good point. If you have the patience and you showcase the love and consideration to another human being. You treat little kids, you don't just treat them like a lot of people make mistakes of treating little kids like they're baby eased, little baby wubba shooby, or you see the other people who scream and yell at them. What you do is you treat them like a little adult that you love. If you treat them like that, when you're asking them something, you make them feel like a big kid, like a little adult through that. You treat them with some dignity, It's amazing what you can accomplish. And it's not hard. It's not difficult at all. Even in more extreme cases. So, oh man, that shit frustrates me to hear that. Not from you, Rira. I'm talking about that whole post. God. Roger Chick, thanks for the fun there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think she and most anti-Hales realized the judge granted the protective order from 2 to 5 years. Oh my goodness. Don't let them know. They think that things are going to just pop off in a hot minute. They think everything's good to go. Oh Lord, well, they keep talking about their voice. They have, by the way, Lynette, you had the ability to have your voice in your federal case when you turn over any type of quote unquote evidence, but you didn't make any discovery available. I mean, really, very little, very, very little. So if you had these bombshells that would give you back your voice and prove everything, you can provide those. You absolutely can. That is your time. Discovery isn't just the things that somebody's asking for. They're going to be the things that you plan on utilizing in a case too. So you can put that out there right with the judge. Unfortunately, a lot of what you see filed of these folks is just insane conspiracy stuff that looks like that FBI letter. And it's like, wow, man, you gotta be kidding. Travis, thanks for the 2 there. I'm good to just have a few beers, relaxing. Well, you keep doing good, brother. You keep doing good. Again, where you talked about like from to, like I said, I've been proud of your journey, and I hope that everything continues in a very positive way for you, brother. Love to you, man. I love positives. I love that because we hear so many in what we cover. We hear so many negatives, but we don't hear enough positives. And I think you have a very positive story that a lot of people can benefit from, my friend. I love that. Let's see. What's up? I'm not sure. Is it Lisa? There we go. I couldn't read the PayPal thing. It came through small today. It's weird. What's up? Thanks for the 20 there. I appreciate that. Just to help out. Love. It's some love there. Appreciate that. That's awesome. I truly enjoy listening to you. Well, thank you. I appreciate you all. Like I said, I got home today and it's been a long day. But I was like, what would make a day like doctor and stuff? Let's laugh at some stupid people together. So I appreciate these moments and these opportunities. And again, you all being here all the time, it makes for a lot of fun, a lot of enjoyment. We talk about a lot of stupid, and I love it. So today we are going to end here, though. It's been a good one. It's a little bit earlier than normal, but we had everything I wanted to. And I appreciate you folks. And I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.